On the day of the college entrance exam, the pathetic admirer of the class beauty, Soo Hylan, threw sulfuric acid at Loo Jinyu out of sheer jealousy. Everyone around me was watching, certain I would rush forward to shield him, and in my past life, that's exactly what I did. I recklessly pushed him out of the way. The acid ruined half my face and shattered my dream of attending Tsinghua University. Filled with guilt, Loo Jinyu took meticulous care of me and even promised to marry me after graduation. That promise was my entire world back then. I clung to that promise, even feeling moved by my own sacrifice for him. That is, until the day I overheard him talking to his friend outside a KTV. Jiang Wenwen's ruined face disgusts me. If she hadn't saved me, I wouldn't give her the time of day. I'd much rather go to Shaman University with Soo Hylan. After the heart-wrenching agony, I opened my eyes and found myself back on the day of the college entrance exam. At the very moment sulfuric acid was about to be thrown at Loo Jinyu. This time, I didn't step forward. Instead, I retreated several meters. The scalding acid splashed entirely onto his face. The sizzling sound of burning flesh, both grating and satisfying, amidst the chaotic screams. I turned away indifferently and walked straight into the examination hall. Chapter 1. The moment the sulfuric acid flew, I took a step back. It wasn't hesitation. It was clarity. Acrid white smoke erupted before my eyes. Loo Jinyu's face, the face I had looked up to for 18 years since childhood, sizzled in the concentrated acid. It sounded like meat hitting a hot skillet, like flesh curling under intense heat. His scream was so piercing it could have torn through the whole street. He clutched his face, a viscous, blood-streaked fluid oozing between his fingers. "Jinyu!" Soo Hylan's scream pierced the air, but instead of rushing forward, she stumbled back several steps, her delicate high heels nearly twisting on the curb. Her sweet, innocent face was now a mask of sheer terror and a flicker of unmistakable disgust. It happened too fast, but the me from my past life wouldn't have seen it. In my past life, the second the sulfuric acid was hurled at Loo Jinyu, I lunged like a rabid dog, using my face and body to shield him from that bottle of concentrated acid strong enough to disfigure him. Half my face was left a raw, mangled mess, my right eye nearly blinded. I spent 3 months in the hospital, missed the college entrance exam, missed my chance at Tsinghua University, missed an entire life that should have been brilliant. And him, he stood by my hospital bed, completely unharmed, holding my hand and saying, "Wenwen, thank you. I'll take care of you for the rest of my life. We'll get married as soon as I graduate from university." I believed him. I believed him like a fool then. At the celebration party for him getting accepted into Shaman University, I stood outside the KTV room and heard him tell his friend, "Every time I see Jiang Wenwen's rotting face, it makes me sick to my stomach. I can't stand the way she holds that favor over my head. If she hadn't taken that acid for me, I wouldn't spare her a second glance. Given the choice, I wish she'd never done it. Then I wouldn't be responsible for her, and I could have gone off to Shaman University with Hylan." I stood outside the door, my heart feeling like it was being run out and crushed. That night, I wore the white dress he gave me 3 years ago, the hem still stained with the lipstick I'd deliberately smeared on. I thought he'd like me dressing up for him. I stood in the fire escape at the end of the hallway and cried for 2 solid hours. I cried until my eyes were swollen shut, until the hideous scar on my face became inflamed and festered from being soaked in tears. What happened next? Eventually, I still married him. I thought I was disfigured and no one would want me. I thought he was my savior. No, I was his savior, but that became my greatest sin. The favor I bought with my face became the reason he despised me day after day. After we got married, he never touched me. Disgusted by my face, he kept a lingering connection with Soo Hylan, who led him on while getting close with the campus heartthrob from Shaman University. Loo Jinyu chased after her like a lovesick puppy, but at home, he subjected me to cold violence and wouldn't even look at me. I gave birth to his child, and the moment it opened its eyes and saw my face, it burst into terrified wails. It was only then that I realized my life was over. It was over the moment I rushed forward on the day of the college entrance exam. So, when fate offered me a chance to start over, this time, I'm not rushing. I watched as the bottle of sulfuric acid was precisely thrown onto Loo Jinyu's face. saw him writhing in agony on the ground, and watched as the face that once made all the girls in school scream slowly melted away in the acid. I heard the terrified screams of my classmates, someone shouting, "Call 120," and Sue Hylon crying, her tears like pear blossoms. Yet, she never took a step closer to him, and I merely turned coldly and walked into the exam hall. Behind me, Lu Jinyu's heart-wrenching cry echoed, "Wenwen! Wenwen! Save me!" My steps faltered. In my previous life, at the moment I rushed forward, he had shouted, "Hylon! Be careful!" This time, he called out to me. How ironic. I didn't look back. The exam hall was quiet. Sunlight streamed through the window and fell across my desk. I picked up my pen, my fingers trembling slightly, not from fear, but from excitement. I've been waiting for this day for what feels like 2 lifetimes. Chapter 2. During those 2 days of the college entrance exams, it was as if I were possessed. Math, science, Chinese, English. I breezed through every subject. All those problems I had drilled relentlessly in countless late nights of my past life. All that knowledge I had painstakingly mastered over 3 years of seclusion after being disfigured, flowed effortlessly from my pen as answers. In my previous life, I had missed the college entrance exams. Later, I barely managed to get into a junior college through self-study exams. But the distance to Tsinghua University felt as vast as a galaxy. In this life, I will reclaim everything that belongs to me. After the exam, I walked out of the examination room, and the sunlight made me squint. A crowd gathered at the school gate, murmuring among themselves. "Did you hear? Lu Jinyu was splashed with acid and his entire face is ruined." "Oh my God, Lu Jinyu, the school heartthrob. That's just awful. He was supposed to take the exam for Shaman University. Tell me about it." I heard it was done by a guy who had a crush on Sue Hylon. Pure jealousy. The guy's been arrested. But Lu Jinyu's face, the doctor said it's severe burns. He's definitely disfigured. What about Sue Hylon? Sue Hylon. She was there when it happened. But I heard she was so scared she just ran off. Didn't even try to help him. TSK. I heard this, and my lips curled into a faint smile, only to be quickly suppressed. In my previous life, Sue Hylon wasn't the subject of such discussions. Back then, it was me who was disfigured. Everyone pitted Lu Jinyu for having a disfigured savior holding him back, praising him for being loyal and righteous and unwavering. Sue Hylon even leveraged this incident to build a persona of being beautiful and kind-hearted. She tearfully praised, "Jiang Wenwen is very brave" during an interview, only to post a photo of herself with Lu Jinyu's admission letter to Shaman University on her social media moments later. In this life, it is Lu Jinyu himself who is disfigured. I wonder how long Sue Hylon's deep affection will last. I was walking home with my backpack when my phone rang as I passed by the hospital. It was Lu Jinyu calling. I stared at the screen for 3 seconds before answering. "Wenwen," came Lu Jinyu's slurred voice over the line. His lips were probably burned by the acid, too, making it hard for him to speak. "Why? Why didn't you help me that day?" There was a sense of grievance, confusion, and even a hint of blame in his tone. I held my phone, my voice as calm as if I were reading from a textbook. I was so scared I didn't react. Weren't you the closest to me? If you had just pushed me, I would have." His voice began to tremble. "My face. The doctor said it can't be fixed. I'm done for. I can't take the exam. My life is over," he cried. An 18-year-old boy was crying on the phone like a child. In my past life, I cried just like that in the hospital. Through my tears, I asked him, "Is my face ruined? Can I still take the college entrance exam? Is my life over?" How did he answer me? He said, "Wenwen, don't cry. You saved me, and I will take responsibility for you." Responsible? What an arrogant pair of words. As if saying, "You saved me. I grant you a marriage. And we're even. But why should that be? Why should I be treated as a burden just because I saved you? Why should I endure your cold violence and mental torment just because I ruined my face for you? Why, after trading my face for yours, do you end up thinking I owe you? In this life, I'm not saving you. You can suffer on your own." "Jinyu," I said into the phone, my voice so gentle it felt fake even to me. You have to be strong. You'll get through this. Then I hung up the phone. Turned off the phone. For the next 3 days, I didn't go to the hospital to see him. It wasn't that I didn't want to go. I just knew too well what would happen if I did. In my previous life, when I was hospitalized, his parents came to see me once, gave me 5,000 yuan, and then never showed up again. They were busy taking care of their son who was about to take the college entrance exam. So, who had time to care about me? This outsider. This time, it's their precious son lying in the hospital bed. I'm curious to see how they'll handle it. On the 4th day, Lu Jinyu's mother called. Jiang Wenwen. Her voice was as shrill as nails on a chalkboard. What's wrong with you? Something this terrible happened to Jinyu. And you haven't visited him once. He only did it for your sake. Auntie. I cut her off. The person who threw the acid did it because he likes Su Hailan and was jealous of Lu Jinyu. What does that have to do with me? There was a 2-second silence on the other end of the line. Well, you were the closest to him at the time. If you had just pushed him, he wouldn't have Auntie. My voice turned cold. Are you saying I should have taken the sulfuric acid for him? She fell silent again. So, you're saying I should trade my face for your son's? That's not what I meant. Her voice softened, but it was thick with resentment. I just think you grew up together. You can't just stand by and watch him die. Can you? Stand by and watch him die. Those 4 words were like a knife plunging straight into the heart of my past life. In my past life, I saved you. I used my face, my life, everything I had to save you. And then what? Then your whole family treated me like a burden they couldn't shake off. Your son was flirting with other women outside, and you turned a blind eye, even privately telling relatives. Jiang Wenwen's face. It's indeed a step up for her to be with my son. A step up by Jiang Wenwen, with the top score in the province for science. A candidate for Tsinghua and Peking University. Deserves someone like you. A rubbish who could only keep your face because of me. Auntie. I took a deep breath. I'm very busy preparing for Tsinghua's Changtian plan interview. Please take good care of Jinyu. Goodbye. Hanging up the phone, I tossed my phone onto the bed, lay down on my back, and laughed out loud while staring at the ceiling. Laughing. Tears began to stream down my face. It wasn't sadness. What a rush. Chapter 3. The day the college entrance exam results came out, my fingers trembled as I checked my score. It wasn't that I lacked confidence in myself. It was that fate had toyed with me too many times in my past life. I was always afraid this was just a dream. The moment the number flashed on the screen, I was stunned. 709 points. The top science student in the entire province. I stared at that number for a full minute, then buried my head in my arms on the desk and cried. In my past life, my mock exam scores consistently hovered around 690, placing me in the top 10 of the entire province. All my teachers said I was destined for Tsinghua or Peking University. But that bottle of sulfuric acid destroyed more than just my face. It obliterated my entire future. This time around, 709 points. The provincial top scorer. My homeroom teacher called 10 minutes later, her voice trembling. Jiang Wenwen, you're the top scorer. The provincial champion. Oh my God, our school has produced a provincial champion. What followed was an avalanche of congratulatory calls, interview requests, and harassment from university admissions offices. The recruiters from Tsinghua and Peking University showed up at my house, almost one right after the other, each more enthusiastic than the last, each offering better terms than the one before. My mother stood beside me, so overcome with emotion she could barely string a sentence together. Our Wenwen has always been clever, just a bit unlucky. And now finally, as she spoke, she began to cry. My mother has had a hard life. My father passed away early, and she raised me all by herself, working as a factory hand on a meager salary of 3,000 a month. She still managed to put me through school. In my past life, after I was disfigured, she spent every last penny of her savings on my skin graft surgery. Her hair turned half white overnight from the stress. Later, when I married Lu Jinyu, she objected, saying, "That man doesn't truly care for you." I didn't listen. I even argued with her, accusing her of not wanting to see me happy. I'm such a jerk. In this life, I won't let her cry for me again. After the news spread, my phone was blowing up. One of those calls was from Lu Jinyu. 1-1. Congratulations. The top scorer in the province. His voice was hoarse, laced with an indescribable emotion. It wasn't happiness, nor was it envy. It felt more like a sense of loss. Thank you, I said. You. Will you be going to Tsinghua? Yeah. There was a long silence on the other end of the phone. 1-1. Why haven't you been to see me lately? He finally asked. His voice tinged with grievance. I've been in the hospital for nearly a month, and you haven't come even once. I'm preparing for an interview, I said, which was partly true. But you weren't like this before. His voice trembled. You used to think of me first in everything. You'd even buy 2 ice creams when you had one. You Jinyu. I cut him off. We're not kids anymore. The words hung in the air like a blade, severing everything else he was about to say. He was silent for a long time, then said something that nearly made me laugh out loud. 1-1. Are you put off by my face? I held the phone. My expression must have been a sight to behold. Disgusted by his face in my past life. He was disgusted by my face for a full 8 years. For those 8 years, the way he looked at me was as if I were a piece of rotting meat. He never went out with me, never let me visit him at his company, and wouldn't even keep our wedding photo in the bedroom. And now he's asking if I'm disgusted by his face. Jinyu, I said calmly, you're overthinking it. Focus on recovering. You'll be fine. Then I hung up the phone. The same line spoken to me by him in a past life. In this life, I return it to him. Fate sure does come full circle. Chapter 4. I went to the hospital not to see Lu Jinyu, but to watch the drama unfold. That's the honest truth. In my past life, I spent 3 months in the hospital. Lu Jinyu came to see me 4 times. Each visit lasted less than half an hour before he'd say he had to go back to study. Once, he even answered a call right in front of me. It was Su Hailan asking if he wanted to go to the library together. He went. He left me there, the one who'd been disfigured for his sake, and went to the library with Su Hailan that day. Alone in my hospital bed, I used my left hand, the only one I could still move, to painstakingly turn the pages of my textbook, 1 word at a time. I told myself it was okay, that he would be good to me in the future. He just wanted to get into a good university, too badly. So, in this life, I just wanted to see him lying in a hospital bed with my own eyes. When I pushed open the door to the ward, only Lu Jinyu was inside. He lay in bed, his entire face wrapped tightly in bandages, revealing only his eyes and mouth. Those eyes, which I once thought were beautiful, clear, bright, like they were filled with stars, were now bloodshot, sunken, and radiating a nearly desperate dullness. At the sound of the door, he turned his head, seeing it was me. A sudden light came into his eyes. 1-1. His voice was so hoarse it was almost inaudible. You finally came. I walked over, sat down by the bed, and looked at him. You've lost a lot of weight, I said. It was true. His wrists were as thin as twigs. I can't eat. My mouth is full of ulcers. Tears seeped through the gaps in his bandages. 1-1. It hurt so much. I watched him cry, feeling nothing inside. It's not that I'm heartless. I just know too well what pain feels like in my past life. When the sulfuric acid was splashed on my face, I felt my entire face was on fire. The pain wasn't just skin deep. It was the agony of nerves being scorched inch by inch. A bone smoking. I passed out 3 times on the operating table. And when I woke up, the pain was so intense that I bit my lips to pieces. Meanwhile, Lu Jinyu, while I was in excruciating pain, was discussing with Su Hailan how beautiful the campus of Shaman University was. It will get better, I said, my voice barely audible. He reached out and grasped my hand. His fingers were icy and slightly trembling, gripping me tightly as if clutching a lifeline. 1-1. Don't leave. Please stay with me. My mom. She had a second child, and now she hardly comes to the hospital. My dad is busy with work. I'm all alone here. I'm so scared. I was stunned. Lu Jinyu's mom is pregnant with a second child. I had no idea about this in my previous life. In my previous life, it was me who was disfigured, while Lu Jinyu attended the college entrance exam unscathed, got into Shaman University, And his mother was so proud that she bragged about her son's success to everyone. Where did the second child even come from in this life? Lu Jinyu is disfigured, unable to take the college entrance exam. And his future is ruined. His mother probably thinks the son is a lost cause and is rushing to have a backup. What a backup! I almost laughed out loud. How often does your mom come? I asked. Once a week. Maybe every 2 weeks. His voice trailed off. She said it's inconvenient for her to come often. Wonwon, am I being abandoned? I looked at him and suddenly felt sorry for him. But this pity, compared to the pity I felt in my previous life, is nothing at all. No. I patted the back of his hand. Your mom won't abandon you. After saying that, I felt hypocritical myself. In my previous life, when I was disfigured, my mom stayed by my side for 3 months without leaving. She quit her job, took care of me in the hospital during the day, and worked as a part-time cleaner at night to earn money for my medical bills. At 50 years old, she carried 30 pounds of cleaning equipment, climbing up to 10 floors just to make 50 yuan. What about Lu Jinyu's mom? Comes once a week, stays for half an hour, leaves a fruit basket, and then leaves. This is the difference. Wonwon. Lu Jinyu suddenly looked up at me, his eyes filled with a humility I had never seen before. You. Would you look down on me? I looked at him. This question, I asked him in my previous life. He said, no. I will take responsibility for you. Responsibility? What cold words? No. I said, mimicking his tone from my previous life. We're friends, and I will always treat you as such. Friend. Those 2 words felt like a slap across his face. He froze for a moment, then his eyes darkened. Friend, he repeated softly. Just friends. I didn't answer because I knew what he was expecting. He was expecting me to say not just friends. He was expecting me to blush and tell him I like you. I want to marry you. Like I used to in my previous life. I would have said that. But this time, I won't. I stood up and picked up my bag. I'm leaving now. I still have to prepare for the start of the semester at Tsinghua. Take good care of your injuries. Wonwon. He was anxious, struggling to sit up, but his wounds made him wince in pain. Don't go. Just stay with me a little longer. Just a little. Jinyu. I stood at the door, turning back to look at him. You need to learn to face things alone. This sentence was bought with 8 years of tears from my previous life. I closed the door and left. His suppressed sobs echoed behind me. Chapter 5. In July, I received my admission letter from Tsinghua University. The red cover, the golden lettering. It felt heavy, as if it carried the weight of 2 lifetimes. I stood on the balcony for a long time, holding the letter. My mom was taking pictures nearby. After snapping over a dozen photos, she still wasn't satisfied and dragged me down to the small garden to take more. To everyone she met, she proudly announced, my Wonwon got into Tsinghua University. She's the top scorer in the entire province. The envious looks from the neighbors reminded me of my previous life. In my previous life, after my face was disfigured, the neighbors' gazes were filled with sympathy, pity, and a sense of what a shame for this girl. Some even gossiped behind my back. Who would ever want her looking like that? I heard she got disfigured by taking a splash of sulfuric acid for someone else. TSK. What was the point? What was the point? What's the point in expecting gratitude from an ungrateful wretch? What's the point in clinging to a marriage that feels like a burden? What's the point in having a face you're too afraid to look at in the mirror? I took a photo of the acceptance letter and posted it on my social media. The caption was just 2 words. A dream come true. The comment section went wild. Her middle school homeroom teacher, high school classmates, relatives, and friends all flooded in with congratulations. Among them was a comment from Su Hailan. Wonwon, you're amazing. Congratulations. Heart, heart, heart. A faint smile touched my lips as I looked at those 3 heart emojis. Su Hailan, you really are the picture of beauty and kindness, aren't you? In my past life, after my face was disfigured, she left me a similar comment. So brave. Wonwon, I look up to you. Heart. Then she immediately turned around and posted a photo with Lu Jinyu on her social media. Captioned, thank you, fate, for bringing you to me. This time, Lu Jinyu was disfigured, and her social media was eerily quiet, I clicked into Sue Halen's profile and scrolled through her recent updates. The latest post was from 3 days ago, featuring a photo of a Shaman University admission letter with the caption, "See you in Shaman in September." In the comments, someone asked, "Did Lou Jean you also get into Shaman University? Isn't he disfigured?" Sue Halan replied with a crying emoji, "Jean, you couldn't take the college entrance exam due to health reasons. And my heart aches for him, but he's always been so strong, and I believe he'll pull through." Heart. How touching. But I know Sue Halen's heartache has a very short shelf life. In my past life, after my face was disfigured, Sue Halan showered me with public praise and sympathy, but privately told her best friend, Jiang Wanwan's face, "It frightens me just to look at it. I don't know how, Jean, you can stand it." Tolerate? What is he tolerating? He didn't tolerate anything. He wouldn't even look me in the eye. He complained about the food I cooked, the clothes I wore, and the sound of my voice. He even refused to eat at the same table with me, saying, "The scars on your face ruin my appetite." This is the gratitude I got in exchange for my face. I exited Sue Halen's profile and replied to her comment, "Thank you, Halan, and congratulations on getting into Shaman University. Please visit Jinyu often. He needs your company the most right now." I made that comment on purpose. What does Sue Halan fear the most? Being put on a pedestal. She loved the handsome, dazzling Lou Jinyu, not the broken man, lying in a hospital bed with his face disfigured. But her persona doesn't allow her to show disdain, so she occasionally posts a status expressing heartache, and then continues her carefree life. This comment of mine is about turning her heartache into concrete action. You feel sorry for him, then go and keep him company. Go to the hospital and take care of his bodily functions. Go and face the disfigured face destroyed by acid, just as I expected. Sue Halan replied instantly, "Of course. I've been visiting him all along." Heart. I smiled. All along. Lou Jinyu himself said that his mother only visits once a week. If Sue Halan had been always visiting him, he wouldn't have been so lonely. This social media post is my first hook. I want everyone to see just how deep Sue Halan's affection really is. Chapter 6. In mid-August, I was getting ready to leave for Beijing. The night before my departure, Lou Jinyu sent me a very long WeChat message. "Wan, I know you probably don't want to see me, but I still want to say a few words to you. I've been thinking about this for a while now. Why did you step back when the acid was thrown that day? I remember it clearly. You were only a meter away from me. You could have pushed me away, but instead, you took a step back. I don't blame you. Really, everyone gets scared sometimes. I just can't understand why you took that step back. You weren't like this before. You used to shield me from everything. When I was chased by a dog as a child, you were the one who grabbed a stick and drove it away. When I was cornered in an alley in middle school, you were the one who rushed in and pulled me away. When I failed an exam in high school, you were the one who walked with me on the playground all night. You never backed down. But that day, you did. Did I do something wrong? Did I say something that hurt you? Wan, I've thought about it for a long time, but I can't find the answer. If you tell me, I'll change. I really will change." After reading the message, my fingers hovered above the screen for a long time. Of course, he couldn't understand because he has no idea what he did in his past life. He doesn't know that the things he said in that KTV room cut me to the core. He doesn't know that the emotional neglect he subjected me to for 8 years of our marriage gave me severe depression. He doesn't know that while he was out there being intimate with Sue Halan, I was home alone, holding our child and crying until dawn. He doesn't know that every time he looks at me, it's as if he's looking at a pile of trash. He doesn't know that his words, "Take responsibility," are the most vicious curse I've ever heard in my life. He doesn't know because he doesn't think he's done anything wrong. In his mind, marrying a disfigured woman like me is the greatest favor he could bestow. Enduring me for 8 years is his greatest sacrifice. Giving me a meal and a roof over my head is the height of benevolence. He never knew that what I needed wasn't responsibility, but love. But I don't need him to know that anymore. I deleted the chat window and didn't reply. Some words, even if spoken, are in vain. Some accounts aren't settled with words. The next day, I boarded the train to Beijing. As the train started moving, I watched the platform recede into the distance and suddenly felt that the Jiang Wanwan from my previous life was also left behind with this train. That fool who ruined her life for a man. That idiot who thought sacrifice could buy love. That poor soul who cried for 2 hours in the KTV fire escape. Goodbye. No. Goodbye for good. Chapter 7. Life at Tsinghua is 100 times better than I imagined. It's not because this place is so great, but because I no longer have to live under Lu Jinyu's shadow. I chose computer science and spent every day in the library and lab, absorbing knowledge like a dry sponge. In my previous life, I attended a mediocre junior college, studying accounting, which I didn't like because Lu Jinyu said, accounting is easy to find a job, and your face isn't for public exposure, unsuitable for public exposure. What a subtle insult. In this life, I not only want to make a name for myself, but I also want to stand at the highest point where everyone can see me. In my first semester of college, I achieved a GPA of 4.0, ranking first in the entire department. I joined the school's robotics lab and worked with my advisor on a national-level project. I also participated in the ACM programming contest and won a gold medal in the regional competition. My photo was hung on the honor roll in the department, and passing students would take a second look. It wasn't because of my face, though my face is intact, with delicate features, not stunning, but definitely pleasing to the eye, but because of my achievements. This feeling is amazing, so good that I feel like the 8 years of my previous life were just a nightmare. Of course, the lingering effects of that nightmare still occasionally come back. For instance, Lu Jinyu still messages me from time to time. Wanwan, are the cafeterias at Tsinghua good? Wanwan, is it cold in Beijing? Make sure to dress warmly. Wanwan, I got my bandages off today. The doctor said the recovery isn't going well. I looked in the mirror. It looks so bad. Wanwan, is there someone you like? I'd reply to 1 or 2 occasionally. My tone is polite, as if I were talking to a stranger. He probably sensed my distance, but he couldn't understand why. In his mind, Jiang Wanwan was still that little tag-along who chased after him since childhood. That fool who would take a bullet for him. That girl who was madly in love with him. He couldn't fathom why this girl had suddenly changed. So he started to panic. He sent me something. 1,000 paper cranes he'd folded himself, packed in a glass jar, delivered right to my dorm. When the delivery guy handed it over, my roommates all went wow, saying how romantic it was. I looked at the jar of paper cranes and thought of my past life. In my past life, when I was hospitalized, I also folded 1,000 paper cranes for him with one hand hooked up to and for. I awkwardly folded them with the other, spending a whole month on it. After finishing, I had my mom deliver them to his house, wishing him good luck in the college entrance exam. He accepted them, said thank you, and then placed them in the corner of his desk, where they gathered dust. Later, when I went to his house, I saw that the jar of paper cranes was covered in a thick layer of dust, and the paper had turned yellow. He hadn't thrown them away, but he hadn't cherished them, either. Just like he treated me, not discarded, but not cherished. I placed the jar of paper cranes under my bed without opening it, not because I was touched, but because I didn't want to see it again. Later, he sent me a scarf, claiming it was knitted by his mom. 2. Keep you warm for the winter. I looked at the scarf with its rough stitching in old-fashioned color. Clearly something bought for a few dozen bucks at a street stall. His mom is busy taking care of her second child now. When would she have time to knit a scarf? He probably bought it himself and sent it over in his mother's name. I never wore that scarf. I turned right around and donated it to the school's charity thrift store. But he was relentless. He started texting me good morning and good night every day, sending me cheesy pickup lines he copied from the internet, and sharing recordings of him playing guitar and singing. His face was scarred, but his voice was still fine. He really could sing well. In my past life, I was completely captivated by his voice. He sang A Little Happiness at the high school New Year's Eve party. All the girls were screaming, and I stood in the audience, my heart pounding, so hard I thought it would leap out of my throat. That night, he walked me home. Under the streetlight, he said to me, Wanwan, thank you for always being there for me. My face flushed as I replied, I'll always be here for you. He smiled. Under the streetlight, his profile was as handsome as a character from a manga. In that moment, I thought this was love, But love isn't like that. Love isn't one person disfiguring themselves for another, and the other person taking responsibility by marrying her. Love isn't one person saying, "I feel sick just looking at her face" in a KTV, while the other person cries for 2 hours in a fire escape. Love isn't like this. I set his messages to do not disturb and stopped replying. Chapter 8. During my freshman winter break, I went back to my hometown. My mom met me at the station. Her eyes welled up the moment she saw me. "You've lost weight. Have you not been eating properly?" I smiled and gave her a hug. "I'm fine, Mom." "Really?" On the way home, my mom seemed to hesitate, but finally spoke up. "Lou Jinyu. He wants to see you." I was silent for a moment. "I don't want to see him." "I know." My mom sighed. "But that poor kid. After his mother had a son, she basically stopped caring about him. His dad is henpecked and doesn't dare say anything either. He's living alone in the old house now, taking care of himself." The other day when I was grocery shopping, I ran into him. He was wearing a mask and a hat. I almost didn't recognize him. "Mom." I cut her off. "He's pitiful, but he's not my responsibility." My mom was taken aback for a moment, then nodded. "You're right. It's just I watched him grow up. It hurts my heart a little." I understood my mom's soft-heartedness, but this time, I wouldn't be swayed. I know this all too well. If our roles were reversed and it was me who was disfigured, Lou Jinyu wouldn't feel an ounce of pity for me. He'd probably even see me as a burden, wishing I'd just stay out of his way. That's exactly what he did in our past life. However, some meetings are simply unavoidable. On the 28th day of the 12th lunar month, I was at the supermarket. While waiting in line at the checkout, someone tapped me on the shoulder. I turned my head and saw a man wearing a black mask and a baseball cap. He was wearing a faded-down jacket, very tall, but skinny, like a bamboo pole. The brim of his cap was pulled low, almost covering half his face. But those eyes, I recognized him. It was Lou Jinyu. I had looked into those eyes for 18 years. I could recognize them even with my own eyes closed. But those eyes had changed. They were no longer clear and bright, but murky and dim, like a lamp about to go out. "Wan Wan," he called my name, his voice soft, carrying a tone of cautious probing. "Jinyu." I feigned surprise. "What a coincidence. I heard you were back," he said, his fingers twisting the hem of his shirt like a child caught misbehaving. "I just thought maybe I'd run into you." He was waiting for me at the entrance to the supermarket. That realization made my stomach tighten slightly. It wasn't a feeling of being moved, but a vague, unsettling discomfort. Are you okay?" I asked, my gaze settling on his face mask. He instinctively touched the edge of his mask, his fingers trembling slightly. "I'm okay." His voice was muffled behind the mask. Indistinct. "It's just my face hasn't fully healed yet. The doctor says I need a few more skin grafts. But it's too expensive." My mom said. He didn't finish. I knew what he left unsaid. His mom said there was no money. Yet, she turned right around and bought a 10,000 yuan stroller for her newborn second son. I've seen favoritism before, but never anything this blatant. "So, what are you doing now?" I asked. "I take on some voiceover work from home," he said. "My voice is still fine. It works. It doesn't pay much, but it's enough to get by." Voiceover work. In his past life, he was destined for Shaman University's finance program. After graduation, he entered investment banking, always in a sharp suit, brimming with ambition and confidence. Su Hailan accompanied him to all sorts of high-end events, standing side by side. They were the picture-perfect golden couple, the envy of everyone around them. Yet in this life of mine, I can't even get a clear photo of his face. "That's good," I said. "Take it slow. Things will get better." That phrase again. I realize the thing I say to him most often is, "Things will get better." But that statement is false. We all know his face won't get better. Severe sulfuric acid burns. Even 10 skin graft surgeries couldn't restore it to its original state. His face is gone forever, just like my face in my previous life. "Wan Wan," he suddenly looked up, his eyes filled with a sense of urgency I had never seen before. "I want to ask you something." "What?" "That day, why did you take that step back?" I was stunned. He's asked me this question many times. Through WeChat, over the phone, but I've never given a direct answer. He stared at me, his eyes filled with resentment, grievance, and a hint of anger. I looked it up, he said. When sulfuric acid is thrown, a person's instinct is to dodge. But you didn't. You took a step back. You were originally standing beside me. You deliberately stepped away. I looked at him, saying nothing. Why? His voice trembled. Why did you step back? You could have saved me. You could have. What can be done? I interrupted him. Can I trade my face for yours? He was choked. Lu Jinyu. I called his full name, my voice calm. I have a question for you. What? If it had been me who was splashed with acid that day, would you have rushed up to shield me? He opened his mouth, but no words came out. Silence. A long silence. The line at the checkout was inching forward. People passed by us, casting curious glances our way. You can't answer, I said, because you already know what it is. You wouldn't. I answered for him. You wouldn't jump in to shield me. Because in your eyes, my face isn't worth protecting. You'd probably even think, goodness, it wasn't aimed at me. No, it's not, he panicked, his voice suddenly rising. I didn't, you did. I looked at him, my gaze as calm as a still lake. Lu Jinyu. We've known each other for 18 years. I know what kind of person you are better than you do yourself. That statement was true. In my previous life, through 8 years of marriage, I saw his selfishness, coldness, and hypocrisy clearly. He has only ever loved himself. Su Hailan was a dream he chased because she was beautiful, accomplished, and someone he could show off. He pursued her not out of love, but because she made him look good. And me, the little shadow who followed him around since childhood, I was just an expendable backdrop to him. My kindness, he took for granted. My sacrifices, he saw as my own choice. When I was disfigured for him, his response was, I never asked you to, but in this life, I refuse to be the backdrop anymore. I picked up my purchases and turned to leave. Wan, he called out behind me, his voice trembling with tears. Don't go. Tell me, what did I do wrong? I can change. I really can change. I stopped, but didn't turn back. Lu Jinyu, you didn't do anything wrong. You just never cared about me. And then I left. Behind me came the sound of his muffled sobs, like a dog that had been abandoned. Chapter 9. In the spring of my freshman year, something happened. Su Hailan is in Beijing. She's not here to see me, but to participate in some college student innovation and entrepreneurship competition. Her project won a provincial award and was recommended to the national competition, which is being held in Beijing. She contacted me on WeChat. Wan, I'm in Beijing. Long time no see. Let's have dinner together. Heart. As I read this message, I recalled my previous life. In my past life, Su Hailan was just the same. Every time she saw me, she'd be overwhelmingly affectionate, linking arms with me, calling me Wan, serving me food, and pouring my drinks, acting as if we were real sisters. But in private, what she said to Lu Jinyu was, Poor Wan, you must treat her well. Don't let her down. On the surface, those words sounded like she was speaking up for me. But in reality, she was reminding Lu Jinyu, you owe her, and you have to pay that debt. She was desperate for Lu Jinyu to take responsibility for me, because that way he would forever be in her debt. She could string him along while searching for a better man on the outside, all the while knowing that I, the scarred, haggard housewife, would be waiting at home for his return. She saw me as nothing but her pawn, a pawn to tie Lu Jinyu down, to make him forever dependent on her. In this life, I'm curious to see how Su Hailan will perform her act of devotion without the disfigured Jiang Wan as her prop. I accepted her dinner invitation. I wasn't here to reminisce. I was here for the show. We met at a restaurant in Wadayaku. Su Hailan wore a white dress, her long hair cascading over shoulders with delicate, subtle makeup. She was genuinely beautiful. An oval face, large eyes, a high nose bridge, and 2 faint dimples when she smiled. In my past life, looking at that face filled me with insecurity. I thought it was only natural for Lu Jinyu to like someone so beautiful. For an ugly duckling like me, marrying him was a stroke of incredible, undeserved luck. This time around, looking at that same face, all I felt was amusement. What's the point of being good looking? The heart is black. 1-1. She rushed over and gave me a big hug as soon as she saw me. Long time no see. You've lost so much weight. Is Tsinghua really that exhausting? It's okay. I smiled and subtly stepped out of her embrace. We sat down and ordered. She began to talk nonstop about her life at Shaman University, what club she joined, how many outstanding people she met, and all the amazing things she did. By the way, she suddenly lowered her voice, looking mysterious. Do you know how Lu Jinyu has been lately? Not really, I said, picking up a piece of braised pork. What's up? Oh, she sighed, her expression turning sympathetic. He's so pitiful. His face still hasn't healed, and his mom doesn't care about him. Now he's all alone in his hometown doing voiceovers, barely making 2 to 3,000 a month. The last time I went back to see him, he was so thin I almost didn't recognize him. She spoke with such sincerity that her eyes welled up with tears. But I noticed a detail. She said, I went back to see him last time, but didn't mention I accompanied him to the hospital or I helped him pay the medical bills. All talk, no action. Isn't that just Sue Halen's standard MO? Have you tried helping him find a good hospital? I asked. The plastic surgery hospitals in Beijing are quite good. You could ask around. She paused for a moment, then quickly put her troubled expression back on. I'd love to help him, but you know how it is. I'm still a student. I don't have much money, and the coursework at Shaman University is pretty intense. I just don't have the time. Oh. I nodded. I understand. 1-1. She suddenly grasped my hand, her face full of sincerity. You're at Tsinghua now. You know a lot of people. Could you ask around for him? He really needs the help. I looked at the hand holding mine. The nails were painted with the latest gel polish. A perfect manicure. A person in great need of help stood before her. But instead of offering financial or physical assistance herself, she passed the responsibility to me. I'll keep an eye on it, I said with a smile, pulling my hand back. Sue Hailon probably didn't expect me to be so agreeable. Her face flashed with surprise before quickly filling with a smile. 1-1. You're so kind. Jinyu is truly fortunate to have a friend like you. Friend. She said friend, not girlfriend. In her heart, Lu Jinyu was her possession. And I was just a friend. Even though Lu Jinyu was disfigured, and even though she didn't want to be with him, she wouldn't allow anyone to take him away. This is Sue Hailon. I can do without him. But you can't take him. After the dinner, as I walked back to school, I received a WeChat message from Sue Hailon. 1-1. I'm really happy to see you today. You must take good care of yourself at Tsinghua. You're the pride of all of us. Heart, heart, heart. I looked at the message, and a slight smile curled my lips. Sue Hailon, you say I'm the pride of everyone. But in my previous life, when I was disfigured, you were the one who said behind my back, Jiangwen, when's life is over. This time, I'm going to see who's finished. Chapter 10. During my freshman summer, I didn't go back to my hometown. I stayed in Beijing and worked with my advisor on a major national R&D project. The project was well funded, and my advisor was generous, giving me an allowance of 8,000 yuan. Between my tutoring gigs and part-time jobs, I had managed to save up a decent sum of money. That's when I started considering something. Plastic surgery. Not for me, though. My face is just fine. I don't need any work done. I wanted to find a good plastic surgery clinic for Lu Jinyu. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going soft, and I'm not trying to help him. I want him to see this. His devoted Sue Hailon wouldn't spend a single cent for him, while Jiang Wenwen, whom he once saw as a burden, is willing to help him get in touch with the best hospital. I want him to feel regret it to the very core of his being. I got in touch with the director of the plastic surgery department at a top-tier Beijing hospital through my mentor. This director is a leading expert in the field of burn and scald repair in China. The cost of a skin graft surgery is around 100,000 yuan, not including follow-up rehabilitation treatment. I sent this information to Lu Jinyu. There's a good plastic surgery department at a hospital in Beijing. Here's the director's contact information. You can consult with them. He replied instantly with a message. 1-1. Are you still helping me? A long string of crying emojis followed. I didn't respond to his emotions, just sent another message in a businesslike manner. The fee is around 100,000 yuan. You can discuss it with your mom. He fell silent for a long time, sending a voice message. I tapped to play it. His voice was terribly hoarse. My mom said, "There's no money at home." She said my little brother is still young. There are so many expenses. And that I should figure it out myself. Figure it out myself. A disfigured young man, not yet 20. His face burned beyond recognition by sulfuric acid, and his mother told him to figure it out himself. I held my phone, unsure of what I was feeling. In my previous life, after I was disfigured, my mom used all her savings for my surgery. 30,000 yuan was half a lifetime's worth of savings for her. She borrowed another 50,000, totaling 80,000, to pay for my first skin graft. Although the results were poor, and my face still bore hideous scars, she did her best. Meanwhile, Lu Jinyu's mother, clutching the money for her second son's school district housing, told him, "Figure it out yourself." "So, what are your plans?" I asked. "I don't know." His voice trailed off. "I thought about finding a job, but my face. No one would hire me. I tried food delivery, but customers would get scared when they saw me and leave bad reviews. My account got banned from the platform." As he spoke, he began to cry. I regret it so much. If only I had dodged that day. If only I had stood further away. What a cruel word. In my previous life, I said countless what ifs. What if I hadn't charged forward? What if I hadn't fallen for him? What if I hadn't married him? But none of these what ifs mattered. What would truly help is a second chance. But he didn't get that chance. "Jinyu," I said, "let me ask around about any charitable funds you might apply for. Don't worry just yet. Things will get better. Things will get better." Again, I realized that when I said this to him, my tone was exactly the same as the one he used with me in my previous life. Polite, distant, with a sense of I'm just fulfilling my duty. He probably sensed it. 211. He suddenly asked, "Are you no longer fond of me?" This question was like a pebble thrown into a lake, rippling outwards. I didn't answer right away. "You weren't like this before." His voice trembled. "You used to reach out to me, care about me, hold me when I was upset. Now you're like a stranger." I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. "Lu Jinyu," I said, "people change." And I cut him off. "You never liked me before, either." A deathly silence hung on the other end of the line. "You were only good to me because I was good to you. You thought it was my duty to take the acid for you. And you saw my marrying you as a favor you bestowed upon me. You never truly cared for me. The only one you've ever loved is Su Hailan." "No, it's not that." He panicked. "Then tell me." My voice was as calm as reading an experimental report. "When did you start liking me?" You can't say. Because you never did." I paused. "You're just thinking of me as a backup, now that no one else wants you." That was a harsh thing to say. So harsh that even I felt it was a bit too much. But it's the truth. In my past life, he despised my face for 8 long years. He'd rather flirt with Su Hailan outside than come home to look at me. He felt no love for me, no gratitude, not even a shred of basic respect. Now, in this life, his face is ruined. Su Hailan wants nothing to do with him. His own mother abandoned him, and everyone around him is keeping their distance. Only then did he remember there was still a Jiang Wenwen, the one who was once willing to take a splash of sulfuric acid for him. He doesn't love her. He just needs her. This is crueler than not loving at all. 1. His voice was completely hoarse, filled with a near-breaking sob. "I know I wasn't good before, but I really will change. Please, give me one chance. Just one." "Jinyu," I said, "some chances, once missed, are gone forever." Then I hung up the phone. This time, I didn't hesitate, because I knew that if the roles were reversed, he wouldn't hesitate, either. Chapter 11. Shortly after the start of my sophomore year, I received an unexpected call. It was Lu Jinyu's mother, Jiang Wenwen. Her voice was no longer sharp as before, but rather weary. "I want to talk to you." "What is it?" "Jinyu. He's been in a really bad state lately." She paused. "He's locked himself in his room for days without coming out. I tried to bring him food, but he wouldn't open the door. I heard him crying inside. Auntie, You should take him to see a psychologist. I asked him, but he won't go. Her voice suddenly rose and then quickly lowered. I just thought, could you come and talk to him? He's always listened to you since he was little. Here we go again, trying to pass the buck to me again. Auntie. I took a deep breath. I'm his classmate, not his therapist. He needs professional help, not my comfort. How can you be so heartless? Her tone shifted, taking on an accusatory edge. Jinyu has always been so good to you. You grew up together. And now that he's in trouble, you won't even lift a finger. Auntie, he was good to me. Of course. He used to. She paused as if searching for evidence of Lu Jin, you being nice to Jiang Wenwen. But clearly couldn't find any strong examples. Didn't he often walk to and from school with you? Walk to and from school together. That's only because his house is next to mine. It's on the way. Auntie. I try to keep my voice calm. I sympathize with Jin Yu's situation, but I'm not his guardian, and I'm not obligated to take responsibility for him. You're his mother, and that's your responsibility. She choked, her voice sharpening. What do you mean? Are you saying I don't care about my son? That's not what I meant. You are saying it. She began to lose control. Who do you think you are? Just because you got into Tsinghua. What's so great about that? If it weren't for what happened, our Jin, you would have easily gotten into Shaman University. Who do you think you are acting so high and mighty? I held my phone listening to her rant and suddenly found it all quite ridiculous in my previous life. After I was disfigured, she treated me the same way. She said, Jiang Wenwen's face is ruined. She's not worthy of our Jin Yu. And if it weren't for her blocking the sulfuric acid for Jin Yu, he would never have married her. In her eyes, my act of shielding her son from the sulfuric acid wasn't a favor, but an attempt to climb higher. I saved her son's face, yet she accused me of using the favor to demand repayment. Now that her son's face is gone, she wants me to be the fall guy. Why should I? Auntie, I calmly said, you're right. Getting into Tsinghua isn't anything special. But at least I didn't rely on anyone. Then I hung up the phone. This was the second time in my life I've hung up on someone from the Lu family. It felt amazing. That evening, Lu Jin, you sent me a very long WeChat message. It wasn't text, but a voice message, a full 32 minutes long. I hesitated for a moment, then tapped to open it. His voice was eerily calm. 1-1. I'm sorry. Did my mom call you? She can be harsh, but please don't take it to heart. I know you don't want to see me and I understand. I'm not naive. I can feel the change in you. The way you used to look at me was completely different. Back then, your eyes would light up when you looked at me. Now, it's like you're looking at a stranger. I've thought about it for a long time and I finally realized one thing. You don't like me anymore. I don't know when it started or why, but I know it's the truth. You know, it's a strange feeling. When you were by my side, I thought you were like the air. Invisible. Intangible. But I never imagined that without air. I couldn't survive. Now that you're gone, I've realized I truly can't go on. It's not because I like you. Well, maybe a little. But more than that, after you left, I realized you were the only person in this world who was truly kind to me. After my mom had my brother, she didn't want me anymore. My dad is a spineless coward who does whatever my mom says. Suhailin. Huh. Suhailin. Do you know what she said when she last came to see me? She said, Jin Yu, you need to be strong. But I also have my own life. I can't give up my future for you. Do you know what that means? It's a polite way of saying don't cling to me. I laughed after hearing that. I found it funny. How could I have ever liked someone like her? She's beautiful, outstanding, and dazzling. But her heart is cold. She was nice to me because I was handsome and because I made her look good. Now that I'm no longer that person, she can't even bear to look at me. But you're different. 1-1. You were kind to me before because you genuinely liked me. You didn't want anything from me. Not my looks. Not my money. I didn't have any money. You just liked me for who I am. But I took your affection for granted. I never cherished you. Never really looked at you. You did so much for me, and I just thought it was owed to me. You were so good to me, and I thought it was your choice. Only now do I realize that nothing in this world is owed to anyone. No one owes you kindness. No one owes you their efforts. And no one owes you their presence when you need them most. You're the only one who would stand in front of me to block the acid. But I lost you. The recording ends here. 32 minutes. He spoke for 32 minutes. After listening, I sat on the edge of the bed silent for a long time. Every word he said was absolutely right. But he missed the most crucial fact. In his previous life, he also lost the only person willing to shield him from acid. No, it wasn't lost. It was pushed away, trampled on, and destroyed all by his own hand. The things he said at the KTV, the 8 years of emotional neglect after we married, his ambiguous relationship with Sue Hai-Lin, his contempt and disgust for me, none of this was losing something. It was murder. He murdered a girl's sincere heart. That girl cried for 2 hours in the fire escape, tossed and turned sleepless every night of her marriage, and looked in the mirror with such self-loathing she wanted to smash it to pieces. The girl gave everything for him, and what about him? He said, seeing her rotting face makes me want to vomit. In this life, he finally tasted the bitterness of being despised. He finally understood what it felt like when the whole world thought you were ugly. He finally understood what it felt like to be treated like trash by the person you love the most. But it was all too late. I didn't reply to his voice message. It's not that I don't want to talk. It's that I don't know what to say. Forgive him? No. I have no right to forgive him because in this life, he hasn't done those things yet. He hasn't said those words at the KTV. Hasn't subjected me to emotional neglect after marriage. And hasn't been ambiguous with Sue Hai-Lin. But I remember it all clear as day. Those memories are seared into my very bones, deeper than any scar acid could leave. That's why I cannot forgive. It's not him in this life I can't forgive. It's him from the last. But the man from my past life is gone. The man in this life is a brand new Lu Jinyu. One who hasn't made those mistakes yet. The only thing he did wrong was not cherishing me. But that one mistake was enough for me to walk away. Chapter 12. That winter during my sophomore year, I received an unexpected remittance. 100,000 yuan. The remittance was from my mother. I called back. Mom, where did you get so much money? My mom stammered for a while before finally telling the truth. Jinyu's mom came to see me. She said Jinyu needs a skin graft surgery, and they don't have enough money. So she wanted to borrow 100,000 yuan. I lent it to her. Mom, my voice suddenly rose. Why did you lend it to her? She has her own house and savings. Why come to you for money? She said her husband won't allow it, and all the family's money is managed by her husband. She had no other choice. She couldn't find anyone else to pay for this. Mom, do you think your money grows on trees? My mom fell silent, then whispered, One, don't be angry. I just felt sorry for the child. He's all alone now with that face of his, and his mom doesn't care about him. I thought if I can help, I should. I took a deep breath, trying to calm myself down. Mom, you didn't lend this money to Lu Jinyu's mom. Did you lend it to Lu Jinyu himself? Well, his mother said it was for Jinyu's surgery. But did you ever verify that the money was actually used for his operation? Well, my mother hesitated a bit. Should have been right. I closed my eyes. Given Lu Jinyu's mother's nature, it's highly unlikely that all of this money will be spent on Lu Jinyu. Her precious second son is her true darling. Mom, give me Lu Jinyu's contact information. I'll handle this matter. What are you going to do? I need to confirm where this money is going. If it's for his surgery, it should be directly transferred to the hospital, not through his mother's hands. My mom hesitated for a moment, then forwarded Lu Jinyu's WeChat contact to me. I sent him a friend request. I had deleted him once before, added him back later, but we hardly ever talked. He accepted it instantly. 1, you're adding me? Yeah, I need to ask you something. Did your mom borrow 100,000 from mine? He was silent for a long time. Yeah, she said it was for my surgery, but I didn't know she actually went and borrowed it. 1, I'm sorry. I didn't know about this. Do you need surgery now? The doctor said it's best if I get my first skin graft before I turn 20. The results would be better. But it's so expensive. I've been saving up, and I've got a little over 20,000 now. Send me the hospital's bank details. I'll transfer the 100,000 directly to them. Don't let it go through your mom. 1, I can't accept this. This is your mother's money. This is my mom's hard-earned money. I don't want it spent on anything else. If you're serious about the surgery, it goes straight to the hospital. If you're not, then send the money back." He fell silent again. Then he sent over the hospital's account details. 1. "Thank you. Don't thank me. It's my mom's money, not mine. If you want to thank someone, thank my mom. I know. Auntie is so kind to me, even better than my own mother." I didn't reply. The next day, I contacted the hospital, confirmed Lu Jinyu's surgery appointment, and then transferred 100,000 yuan directly to the hospital's account. I sent Lu Jinyu the screenshot of the transfer. "The surgery fees are taken care of. Focus on the operation and don't let my mom's kindness go to waste." He sent a voice message, his voice trembling. 1. "I don't know what to say. Thank you. Thank you so much. I could never repay your mother's kindness in this lifetime. You don't have to repay anything. Just live well. That's all." That was what I wanted to say to him in my past life. In my past life, I shielded him from acid, but he never said thank you. Only "I will take responsibility for you." Thank you and responsibility are two completely different concepts. Thank you is gratitude, while responsibility is charity. He doesn't even know how to be grateful. Chapter 13. In the second semester of his sophomore year, Lu Jinyu had his first skin graft surgery. The surgery was successful. The doctor took skin from his thigh and transplanted it to his face. Although it couldn't be restored to its original state, it was at least not as shocking as before. He sent me a photo of his post-surgery recovery period on WeChat. This was the first time he had sent me a photo since his disfigurement. In the photo, his face was wrapped in bandages, revealing only one eye and half of his mouth. There were tears in that eye, and the corner of his mouth was slightly raised, as if he was smiling. 1. The doctor said the recovery is going well. In a few months, I'll be able to go out without a mask. I replied with, "Congratulations." Just 2 words. He probably expected me to say more, but I couldn't give him anything else. It's not that I couldn't, it's that I didn't want to, because I know if I'm kind to him now, he'll think there's still a chance. He'll cling to me like a lifeline, and I'll be dragged back into that abyss. No, I don't want to. I've already climbed out. That junior year, my life was on fire. I received the National Scholarship, published my first SCI paper, won a gold medal at the ACM Asia Regional Contest, and also earned the Tsinghua Special Scholarship, the highest honor for Tsinghua students. My photo made it to the homepage of Tsinghua University's official website, with the headline Jiang Wenwen, from provincial top scorer to rising research star. Our high school class group chat blew up. Jiang Wenwen is absolutely incredible. She won the Tsinghua Top Scholarship. She's a pride of our class. Goddess Wenwen. Su Hailan also posted in the group. 1. You're amazing. So proud of you. Heart, heart, heart. I looked at the message and smiled. Su Hailan, your pride is so cheap. However, I also noticed something. Su Hailan's recent social media posts have taken on a different tone. Before, her posts were all about Shaman University is so beautiful. Went to the beach again today, and had a meal with friends, brimming with the joys of university life. But lately, she started posting some late-night melancholic content. Some people just drift apart as they walk along their separate paths. Growing up means learning to face things alone. Turns out, not every affection is met with a response. The accompanying image was a blurry photo of a figure from behind, which looked like a boy. I opened the full-size image and took a closer look. That figure looks familiar. It's Lin Yuzhou, the campus heartthrob from Shaman University. In her past life, Su Hailan was deeply involved with Lin Yuzhou at Shaman University, while keeping Lu Jinyu on the hook and flirting with Lin Yuzhou. When Lu Jinyu found out, they had a huge fight, and she tearfully claimed, "Lin Yuzhou and I are just friends," which Lu Jinyu actually believed. After all, a lovesick fool is always willing to believe any lie. In this life, Lu Jinyu is no longer at Shaman University, so Su Hailan can openly pursue Lin Yuzhou. But it seems things aren't going too smoothly. I exited the Moments feed without commenting. None of my business. But fate always has a way of playing tricks. A month later, I received a piece of news. Su Hailan was coming to Beijing. Not for competition. Not for tourism, but for an internship. Her internship placement was in Beijing's Haidian district, just 3 kilometers from Tsinghua University. She excitedly messaged me on WeChat. "One, I'm coming to Beijing for an internship. We can meet up all the time now." I looked at the message, feeling a sense of foreboding. Su Hailan isn't the type to cherish old friendships. Her sudden enthusiasm about meeting up often certainly wasn't because she missed me. She must have some ulterior motive, but I can't figure it out for now. No worries. We'll handle whatever comes our way. In this life, I'm no longer the fool she once manipulated. Chapter 14. After Su Hailan arrived in Beijing, she indeed frequently invited me to meet. We went out for meals, shopping, and coffee. Each time she was so enthusiastic it felt like she was pursuing me. I went on a few dates with her to see what she was really up to. On the 3rd meeting, she finally showed her true colors. One, she asked casually, holding her coffee cup. "Do you have a boyfriend now?" "No," I said. "Then, do you have a crush on someone?" "No, not either." "Really?" She widened her eyes, looking skeptical. "With your talents, I'm sure many people are chasing you." "Right. There are, but I haven't met the right one." I said truthfully. There were indeed people pursuing me at Tsinghua, but I've lost interest in romance. The wounds from my past life are too deep, and this time I only want to focus on my career. Then, do you still like Jinyu? This question felt like a knife, piercing straight to the heart. I looked at her. Her expression was one of concern, but her eyes held a probing look. She was testing me. She wanted to know if I was still hung up on Lu Jinyu. If I said yes, she would get nervous, because even though Lu Jinyu was disfigured, he was still someone I had saved. If I still had feelings for him, then her former possession might be snatched away by me. If I said no, she'd breathe a sigh of relief, but she wouldn't be completely at ease, because she knows Lu Jinyu is pestering me right now. "Hailan." I set down my cup and looked her straight in the eye. "Why are you asking this all of a sudden?" She was taken aback for a moment, then quickly put on an apologetic smile. "Oh, I was just asking casually. Don't read too much into it." "I'm not reading into anything," I said, "but it seems like you've been thinking a lot." Her smile stiffened for a moment. One, you've changed so much," she suddenly said, her tone turning serious. "You weren't like this before. You used to be so gentle and easy to talk to. Now you, how should I put it, have become a bit sharp." "Sharp? That's a good word for it. I have indeed sharpened myself, after being trampled underfoot for 8 years in my previous life. If I don't sharpen myself a bit more in this one, won't I just end up being treated like a soft persimmon again? People do change," I said, "but you shouldn't change." She looked at me, her eyes filled with an indescribable emotion. "You should always be the gentle Jiang Wenwen." "Should?" What gives her the right to say should? Because she needs that gentle Jiang Wenwen to be her pawn. Needs that agreeable fool to help her tie down Lu Jinyu. Needs that doormat of a wretch to make her own beauty and kindness shine by comparison. "Hailan." I laughed. A cold smile. "What do you think gentleness is? Is gentleness just a synonym for being easy to push around?" My words left her speechless. She opened her mouth, but no sound came out. "I'm busy." I picked up my bag and stood up. "I'm leaving first. Let's catch up next time." As I walked out of the cafe, my fingers were still trembling, slightly. It wasn't fear. It was anger. The biggest issue with Su Hailan isn't that she's bad, but that she treats everyone as her pawns. Lu Jinyu is her backup. Lin Yuzhou is her target, and I'm her tool. She wanted me to always be gentle, always easy to talk to, always there when she needed me and gone when she didn't. But this time, I won't. I want her to know that even a pawn can flip the table. Chapter 15. A major event occurred during my junior summer. Lu Jinyu came to Beijing. He came for his second skin graft surgery. The cost of the surgery was saved by himself. Over 20,000, plus some funding from public welfare foundations. Barely enough to cover it. He sent me a message before he came. One, I'm coming to Beijing for surgery. If it's not too much trouble, would you be able to come and see me? I didn't reply, but on the day he arrived in Beijing, I still went to the hospital. It wasn't for him. It was for my mom. After my mom found out he was coming for surgery, She called me 8 times, urging me to go see him. "It's so pitiful," she said. "He's all alone in Beijing having surgery." I couldn't refuse my mom, so I went. The hospital was in the suburbs of Beijing, and it took me an hour and a half by subway. When I arrived, he had just come out of the operating room. The anesthesia hadn't fully worn off yet, and he was lying in bed, drowsy. His face was again wrapped in bandages, leaving only his eyes exposed. Those eyes were half open, half closed, but they lit up slightly when he saw me. "One." His voice was a hoarse rasp, like sandpaper grating against his throat. You came." Hum. I sat down on the edge of the bed. "How are you feeling?" "It hurts." Tears welled up from beneath the bandages. "But it's okay. Better than the first time." I didn't know what to say, so I just sat there, watching him. He must have sensed my awkwardness and tried to force a smile. But with the bandages, it was impossible to tell. One. "You know, every time I'm in surgery, I think of you." "Think of me how?" "I think about when you shielded me from the acid. I wonder if it hurt this much." I was stunned. I've never thought about this before. His voice was soft, as if afraid of disturbing something. "I only knew you saved me, but I never thought about how much pain you endured. Now that I've experienced it myself, I realize that kind of pain is beyond what anyone can bear." "Woman, I'm sorry," he cried quietly, tears trickling down through the gaps in the bandages, soaking the pillow. "I'm sorry. I never truly cared about your pain before. You suffered so much for me, and I just took it for granted. I was such a jerk." Watching him cry, a storm of complicated emotions churned inside me. In this life, he truly hasn't done anything wrong. He didn't say those things at the KTV. He didn't give me the cold shoulder after marriage. And he wasn't ambiguous with Su Hailon. He doesn't even know about the things he did in his past life. But these words he's saying now, he never said them in our past life. In my past life, he never said, "I'm sorry" to me. All he ever said was, "I will take responsibility for you." Taking responsibility is charity. "I'm sorry" is repentance. Charity is condescending. Repentance is humble. In this life, Lu Jinyu has finally learned humility. "Jinyu," I said, "you don't need to apologize to me. You don't owe me anything." "I do owe you," he insisted stubbornly. "I owe you my life. You don't owe me a thing." I stood up. "You never asked me to save you, so I don't need you to feel responsible. By the same token, you never asked my mother for that loan, so you don't need to feel grateful either. But I Lu Jinyu." I cut him off. "Don't confuse gratitude with love. What you feel for me isn't love. It's guilt. Guilt is not love. In some ways, it's more hurtful than indifference." He fell silent. "After your surgery, live your life well. Find someone who truly cares for you. Don't chain yourself to someone out of guilt. That's cruel to both of you." It took me 8 years in my past life to understand this truth. In our last life, Lu Jinyu married me out of guilt. And what was the result? He was miserable, and I was even more miserable. With just the word responsibility, he ruined both our lives. In this life, I don't want his responsibility, nor do I want his gratitude. All I want is for him to stay away from me. One. He suddenly called out to me, "Is there someone you like?" I turned back and looked at him. "No," I said. "Then why?" "Because the person I loved is gone." This statement is true. The person I like is the white-clad boy who smiled at me under the street light in my past life. It was his gentleness when he held my hand after I was disfigured and said, "I will take care of you." It was the occasional smile he gave me, even if it was mixed with reluctance and pity. But that person in the KTV room of my past life said with his own mouth, "I feel like vomiting when I see her face." That person no longer exists. Instead, there is a cold, selfish, and indifferent stranger. In this life, Lu Jinyu is not that person. He is a new person, one who has not made those mistakes. But I can no longer like him because every time I see him, I remember that KTV room from my past life. Those words, and those 8 years. It wasn't his fault, but it wasn't mine, either. "I don't understand." His voice trembled. "What do you mean?" "Gone. You don't need to understand." I turned towards the door. "Focus on getting better. Things will get better." That line again. The phrase I've said to him most in my life is this lie. Chapter 16. During my senior year, I secured a direct PhD position and continued my studies at Tsinghua University. My research took off, and I published 3 top-tier conference papers, received the Google PhD fellowship, and was selected for the Future Female Scientist program. My mentor said, Jiang Wen is the most outstanding student I've ever mentored. No contest. Meanwhile, Lu Jinyu's surgeries were all completed. He underwent 4 skin graft surgeries over the course of more than a year, with a total cost of nearly 300,000 of that. 100,000 was from my mom. No, it was a gift because later when Lu Jinyu wanted to repay her, she refused. My mom said, "This child has had a tough time. Consider it a good deed for mom." I couldn't persuade my mom, so I just let her have her way. But I knew Lu Jinyu never forgot about that money. Every month, he would transfer a few hundred to my mom, calling it repayment. She wouldn't accept it, but he would force the transfer, then delete the chat record, so she couldn't send it back. Over 4 years, he repaid over 20,000, although it's still far from 100,000. At least this gesture is sincere. After the surgery, Lu Jinyu's face had improved significantly. While it was impossible to return to its original state, it was at least no longer shocking to behold. His face bore extensive scarring, and his features were somewhat distorted, but, with a mask and a hat on, he looked much like an ordinary person. He found a regular job working as a voice actor for an internet company with a monthly salary of 5,000. It wasn't high, but it was enough for him to live on back in his hometown. He started posting snippets of his daily life on social media, his voice recording booth, the meals he cooked, and the potted plants on his windowsill. Occasionally, he would also share some inspirational quotes. Today, I looked in the mirror and realized I wasn't as ugly as I thought. Maybe it's not because my face has improved, but because my mindset has. I am grateful to everyone who helped me during my toughest times. I will repay you with the rest of my life. Some things are lost for good, but loss is also a form of growth. As I read these social media posts, I can't quite put my feelings into words. Not moved, nor disgusted. It's more like a sense of relief. He is no longer the high and mighty school hunk. He has become an ordinary person. An ordinary person who understands gratitude, cherishes, and humility. But this understanding came at the cost of disfigurement. The understanding I gained in my past life was bought with 8 years of tears. We both paid a price. It's just that the price he paid was far lighter than the one I paid in my past life. In the 2nd year of my doctorate, I received an invitation to return to my alma mater and give a speech. The principal of my alma mater called me personally. Jiang Wen. He said, "You are the pride of our school. Come back and share your story with the younger students. Give them some inspiration." I agreed. On the day of the speech, I wore a simple white shirt, tied my hair in a ponytail, and stepped onto the stage with no makeup. The auditorium was packed with students, their eyes shining as they looked up at me. They reminded me so much of my past self, full of hope for the future and trust in the world. I stood on the stage, looking at them, and suddenly felt a bit disoriented. If I hadn't stepped forward in my previous life, would my life have turned out like this? Standing on the podium at Tsinghua University, shining brightly, admired by everyone. No, even if I hadn't stepped forward in my previous life, I might not have reached where I am today. Because in my previous life, I was too dependent on Lu Jinyu. I placed all my hopes on him, believing that marrying him was the ultimate goal of life. I had no career of my own, no aspirations, and even no independent thoughts. I am his subordinate, a disfigured, yellow-faced hag, a burden seeking repayment for a favor. This life of mine was forced into existence. It was forced by his words. I feel sick just looking at her face, by the 8 years of cold violence, and by those 2 hours in the KTV fire escape. So, should I thank him? No, the one I should thank is myself. Thank you to the self who, after crying for 2 hours in the fire escape, still didn't give up. Thank you to the self who, after every sleepless night following the marriage, still made it to the next day. Thank you to the self who, after wanting to smash the mirror while looking into it, still walked out the front door. I saved myself. It wasn't Lu Jinyu. It wasn't anyone. When the speech ended, thunderous applause erupted from the audience. The principal came on stage to take a photo with me, grinning from ear to ear. As I was walking off the stage, I saw someone standing at the door. He stood in the shadows of the corridor, wearing a mask and a baseball cap, with a gray coat on. In his hands, he held a bouquet of flowers, not roses, but sunflowers. It was Lu Jinyu. What was he doing here? 1-1. He walked over and handed me the flowers. Your speech was brilliant. I took the flowers and looked at him. How did you get here? I wanted to see you. His voice was a bit tense. I heard you're giving a speech at your alma mater. So, aren't you at work? Took a day off. He paused. I want to tell you something in person. What? I'm going to Shenzhen. I was taken aback for a moment. A company in Shenzhen has offered me a job doing audiobook narration. The salary is 12,000 a month. It's a lot better than my current job. That's great. I said, congratulations. Yeah. He nodded, fell silent for a moment, and then said, 1-1. I came to see you not to pester you. I know you don't have feelings for me anymore, and I've accepted that. I just wanted to thank you in person. He took off his mask. It was the first time I saw his face fully. Scars covered most of his face, stretching from his forehead to his chin. The skin was uneven, with varying shades, resembling a crumpled and smoothed-out piece of paper. His left eye drooped slightly, and the corner of his mouth tilted to the right, making his features appear somewhat asymmetrical. But he didn't flinch or feel ashamed. He stood right there in front of me, letting me see every inch of his scars. This is me, he said, his voice calm. This is who I am now. I know you might find it revolting. It's okay. I'm used to it. But I still want to say, thank you. Thank your mother. Thank everyone who has helped me. If it weren't for you, I might not be in this world anymore, he said, his eyes welling up, but no tears fell. 1-1. Don't worry. I won't bother you anymore. I'm going to Shenzhen, work hard, and live well. If I get the chance, I'll pay back all the money I owe Auntie. You take care, too. He put his mask back on and walked away. After a few steps, he turned back. Oh, clears throat, by the way. 1-1. What is it? You once asked me, if it were you who got splashed with acid, would I rush up to shield you? I was stunned. I can answer you now. He smiled, and through the mask, I couldn't see his expression clearly, but I saw his eyes curve like two crescent moons. I would, he said, if I could do it all over again. I would. Then he left, disappearing at the end of the corridor. I stood still, holding a sunflower in my hands, silent for a long time. It will. He said it would, but, in his previous life, he didn't. In my past life, I was the one who got acid thrown on me. He didn't rush to shield me, and he didn't even spend much time with me in the hospital. He went to the library with Su Hailon instead, talking about how beautiful Shaman University's campus was. In this life, he said, I will. But, in this life, he was the one who got acid thrown on him. He never had the chance to rush forward because he was the one being attacked. Fate played a cruel joke on him. It took his face, but gave him a heart full of gratitude. But all of this was far too late. Not every I'm sorry is met with it's okay. Not every I'll change is met with I forgive you. Not every what if I could do it over gets a second chance. I turned and walked out of the school gate, the warm sunlight on my face. I placed the sunflower on the passenger seat and started the car. My phone buzzed with a WeChat notification. It's from Su Hailon 11. I'm getting married to Lin Yuzhou. The wedding is set for October. You must come. Heart. I looked at the message and smiled. Su Hailon is getting married with Lin Yuzhou, the heartthrob of Shaman University. She finally got what she wanted, but I knew Su Hailon's marriage wouldn't be a happy one. Not because I have the gift of foresight, but because I know her all too well. Su Hailon is someone forever chasing after something better. She liked Lu Jinyu because he was handsome. She pursued Lin Yuzhou because he was the school heartthrob. But the pursuit of better is a bottomless pit. After getting married, she would inevitably find other men who seemed better. She would grow dissatisfied, restless, and continue her chase. And Lin Yuzhou is no saint either. In their past life, while stringing Su Hailon along, he was also entangled with other girls. Could two disloyal people ever truly find happiness together? But that's no longer my concern. I sent a reply to Sue Hylon. Congratulations. I wish you both every happiness. Then, I put down my phone. Outside the window, the sunlight was warm, the sky was a clear blue, and the breeze was gentle. My life, at last, was entirely my own. Epilogue. After earning my PhD, I stayed on at the university as an assistant professor. At 28, I was one of the youngest female assistant professors at Tsinghua. I had my own lab, my own research team, and my own research direction. The students I supervised were all outstanding, and one of them even received the Microsoft Research Asia Fellowship. My life is fulfilling and peaceful. Occasionally, I think about my past life, but those memories have become hazy, like an old photograph soaked in water. The outline remains, but the details are blurred. I no longer hold a grudge against Lu Jinyu, nor do I resent Sue Hylon. I don't hate anyone. Hatred is too exhausting. I don't want to waste any more energy on it. One day, I stayed late at the lab and, as I left the building, I noticed a girl standing at the entrance. She was probably in her early 20s, very beautiful, but had a large scar running from the corner of her right eye down to her chin. The scar, a scar left by sulfuric acid. I recognized it instantly because I had a scar just like it in my past life. Professor Jiang, she said upon seeing me, her voice tinged with nervousness. I'm sorry to disturb you so late. And you are? My name is Lin Shouting. I'm a student from the school next door. I was hoping to talk with you. Looking at the scar on her face, a complex mix of emotions suddenly welled up inside me. Come in. I pushed the door open. I'll make you a cup of coffee. She followed me into the lab, sat on the sofa, holding the coffee cup with both hands, her fingers trembling slightly. Professor Jiang, she took a deep breath. I heard you almost got disfigured by acid. Too. I was stunned for a moment. Did someone try to throw acid at you? Did you dodge it? I looked at her and suddenly smiled. Yes, I said. I dodged it. And you? Shouting. I cut her off. What did you want to ask? She was quiet for a moment, then looked up, her eyes glistening with tears. Teacher Jiang. My face. It was splashed by my ex-boyfriend's girlfriend. She said I stole her boyfriend. But I didn't. When I was with him, they had already broken up. I reported it to the police, and she was arrested. But my face, it's never going to be the same again. My boyfriend, he said he'd take care of me at first. But then, he grew more and more impatient, more and more resentful of me. Last week, he told me he couldn't take it anymore, that he wanted to break up. Teacher Jiang, I'm so heartbroken. I feel like my life is over. Looking at her, it was like seeing a version of myself from a past life. The version of myself who cried for 2 hours in a KTV fire escape. The self who tossed and turned sleeplessly every night after marriage. The self who wanted to smash the mirror every time she looked into it. Shouting. I set down my coffee cup and looked at her earnestly. Your face may never return to what it was, but your life can. She paused for a moment. Let me tell you a story, I said, and so I began. It was about a girl who, on the day of the National College entrance exam, used her own face to shield a boy from sulfuric acid, and about that boy who later said in a KTV room, the sight of her face makes me sick. This is about the girl who married that boy and endured 8 years of emotional neglect. This is about the girl who cried for 2 hours in the fire escape, then dried her tears and carried on living. This is about the girl who, given a second chance, chose to take a step back. This is about the girl who got into Tsinghua University, topped the provincial exams, earned her doctorate, and became a professor. By the end of her story, Lin Shouting was in tears. Teacher Jiang, is this really true? What do you think? I said with a smile. That girl, was it you? I didn't answer, just stood up and walked to the window. Outside the window was the night scene of Tsinghua, brightly lit with twinkling lights. Shouting. I turned back. Disfigurement is not the end of the world. The real end of the world is when you feel you have nothing but your face. You are not having nothing. You have hands, feet, a brain, and dreams. You can study, work, earn money, and live a wonderful life. Don't tie your self-worth to a pretty face. And certainly not to a man. You deserve better. Lin shouting wiped her tears and nodded firmly. Thank you, Teacher Jiang. After she left, I sat alone in the lab, quiet for a long time. My phone buzzed with a WeChat message from Lu Jinyu 11. I'm doing well in Shenzhen. The company promoted me, and my salary has increased to 20,000 yuan a month. I've repaid 50,000 yuan to Auntie, and I'll continue to pay off the remaining 50,000. By the way, I went for a counseling session today. The therapist said my mental state has improved a lot. I haven't had a nightmare in ages. How have you been lately? Make sure you're eating properly, and don't overwork yourself. Good night. I stared at the message, my finger hovering over the screen. Then, I typed out a line. Good night, Lu Jinyu. Sent for the first time in 4 years. I had actively called him Lu Jinyu instead of just Jinyu. He must have noticed the change because his reply was just a long string of then. He sent a smiling emoji. Good night, Jiang Wanwan. I smiled. Jiang Wanwan. He called me by my full name. No longer Wanwan, the term that symbolized intimacy and dependence, but Jiang Wanwan, a name that stands alone, complete, and independent of anyone else. I turned off my phone and stepped out of the lab. The night breeze carried the scent of early summer blossoms. I looked up at the sky. The stars were brilliant. In this life, I've finally become the person I wanted to be. I am nobody's savior. I am nobody's burden. I am nobody's wife. I am just Jiang Wanwan, a common, ordinary, but free person. That's enough.